Yes, it is.
Okay, and my voice is clearly audible, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, great. So welcome once again. Today's session, as I mentioned before, it's social media and great content, magical mix for sales, right? So, as I was sharing earlier, social media as such is a communication tool, and in an organization, professionals use it for various objectives, from recruitment to crowdsourcing if you're in the product development team, to product management, to doing the brand building, lead generation, even lead nurturing, and sales as well. But today we would primarily focus on how social media can be used to generate sales and what is the role of content in that. Okay, so we'll start by looking into, I would like to first start by defining what exactly is social media. In a way, I mean, there's a lot of confusion around it. What kind of a media can really be classified as social media? And after that, we look into what is the role of social media in the overall customer life cycle. Is it only a medium which generates the additional reach of people, or can it be used for other objectives as well within the purpose of fulfilling sales? And then we would look into what is the various kind of content that organizations are using, which are producing great results and achieving good sales revenue through social media. So that's how the session is going to go. So to start with, let's look into, when we talk about social media, what all channel are we really talking about? So a lot of people think that social media is actually all about Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. That's one small set of social network, which itself is only a subset of what social media is all about. So if I have to actually define social media in simple terms, what I can say is that social media is a media where user-generated content dominates. So for example, if the bar over here, it represents all the content that is published on a given medium. In a social media, what you would see is that the user-generated content is the one that would dominate. In a way, at this point of time, every medium is going social. If you look at any editorial medium, be it Wall Street Journal, New York Times, or even corporate websites, you would see social elements embedded in it. Everyone would have an option to comment. Everyone would have given an option for you to share it on Facebook, introduce all the social media widgets in it, but that does not make them social media. Social media are only those media wherein, if you look at the homepage of those media, or if you look at any of the pages, internal most visited page of that media, you would see it is a user-generated content that dominates, right? So just let me demonstrate it through an example. For example, if you go to Facebook, what you see over there is an update from friends, or the chat update, the ticker update, and the other kind of an user-generated update coming on your screen. So if you look at, majority of the screen is dominated by the user-generated content, not the editorial content, and that's the reason it's a social media, right? So, and like that, there are hundreds of such social media channels. And when we talk about social media, we talk about all of them. For a lot of businesses, there are some niche social media channel in their domain that is giving them much better sales value than the mainstream channel, which is actually known to everyone, right? So that's the reason. So why it is important to define social media is because, see, it's because if there is a user-generated content that is predominantly being viewed by the viewers of that channel, in your promotional campaign, you will have to involve the users, and you will have to ensure that users are helping you to give you the kind of reach that you're looking at, right? So and that's where the content plays a very critical role. How would you really use a set of a content such that users on those channels really give you the kind of engagement and reach that you're looking at? Okay, so fundamentally, if you look at any social media channel, what they provide is they would provide you reach. Social media definitely has the possibly the largest reach right now, and they would provide you a medium to engage. And it is up to you as a sales professional or a marketing professional to convert that reach and engagement to your leads and sales. So moving forward, let me just sort of create the overall framework to define the role that social media plays in the customer life cycle. So if you look at this diagram and starting from the the the, the left hand side where you see this cloud, there are inside of digital medium there are, and I'll first actually try to explain you the whole cycle and then we'll try to fit in where is in that social media can find a role in it. So first and foremost you need to reach out to customers, okay? And especially in the digital space right now there are n number of different ways to build that reach. You could build your reach through search engines by doing search engine optimization or running ads on it. You can build your reach through social media channels, you can do email marketing, you can do affiliate marketing and other content centric channels also. You can do your promotion on those channels and build your reach. Once you have that reach, you need to do something. You need to post some kind of a content on all those platforms such that that reach can either come to your online presence, it could be your blog or it could be your website, or you are aggregating them somewhere. And this aggregation can happen over emails, like you might ask for a email ID on other channel itself and get them aggregated over emails, or you might aggregate them on some social channels also like on Twitter or on Facebook, like you create a page on Facebook and aggregate your audience over there. The beauty of audience aggregation is that you get an opportunity to nurture them. You get an opportunity to nurture their psyche such that they move more closer to your product. Okay. So, and even when they're there on your online presence, some of them would type and fill in some lead form that is available on your website, or some of them would actually, who are not really ready to be at a stage where they're really a lead for your product. They might just want to stay in touch with you, and you will have to give them some option to aggregate them somewhere. If you don't do that, you would actually miss out most of the people who are coming to your online presence. As per the research, it suggests that more than 95% of the visitors that comes to the website, they are not really ready to have a sales conversation. So they are not really ready to be converted to a lead. So if you do not do any kind of an audience aggregation, you miss out on most of them, right? So so once you have people aggregated or you're there on your online presence, you somehow try to drive them towards a stage where they're ready to have a sales conversation, and that's where you generate lead out of them. So that's till that time lead generation happens, and after that, primarily it's a sales job role to convert the leads to sales, but in a way you can use digital media to do the lead nurturing as well. A lot of companies have this problem that the volume of reach is good, but the relevancy is very low. So they spend too much time in the sales effort. So overall their customer acquisition cost is very high. So in that case, what you really do is you try to somehow in an automated way nurture those leads such that there is a qualification of leads that happen in an automated way by using techniques like life cycle emails. And once you do that, then you move people more closer to the sales. So in a way, the handshake between the marketing team and the sales team happens somewhere in between leads and sales, which earlier used to happen at the lead stage only, right? So now this is the complete life cycle. Now the question is that what role can social media play in this? So first and foremost, when it comes to building reach, social media can play a major role. All the social media channels provide you various ways to build reach. Like social media can enable you to build organic reach. Like on Facebook, you can create a page, and creating a page on Facebook means you are adding on your subscribers, which you can reach out to ongoingly. So that's like building your organic reach on social media. You can build paid reach. All social media channels, almost all social media channels actually offer you various advertisements platform for you to run ads over there. And then you can also run viral reach. You can also look for viral reach wherein you actually involve your existing reach to help you reach out to the further set of an audience. So that's one area where social media can play a critical role. The second is in audience aggregation. So if you have to aggregate audience, like you can do it on email, but the problem with email is that you can't send one email a day unless you are a deal site like Groupon, then people expect you send a deal a day. But otherwise, if you start sending an email a day, you would soon be ranked in the spam category, and your email will stop going them further. But in case of Facebook, you can actually send them at least 2 to 3 updates every day. What that means is that the Facebook has much a better advantage, or even Twitter has a different set of an advantage. I won't say a better advantage, but every channel offers different kind of an advantage to aggregate audience. So based on the frequency with which you want to aggregate audience, the kind of content that you want to use to aggregate audience, you can use various social media channels here. So social media has a role in reach, social media has a role on audience aggregation, and social media also has a role in lead nurturing, which is actually moving people from lead to sales. Like if you actually aggregate people, all your leads on any social media channel, then you can keep nurturing their thoughts such that they keep moving closer to your product before your sales guy can actually straight away call them and convert them. So now the critical element here is that to move people forward, the persuasive, you need to use some kind of a way to pursue them forward. So, and what that means is you have to actually divide your customer journey into small baby steps. And because in online space, the attention span is very low, and the people will lose the interest out of your product very soon. So you have to make sure that at every time you're asking your customer to take a very small step forward out of the overall sales journey. Now, to take that small step forward, what you really need is a great content. So in a way, if you do not have a great quality content, your reach will not be converted to sales, or you will miss them out somewhere in between. So that is actually the role of the great content in overall digital marketing, and specifically in case of social media, wherever you're using social media channel. Okay. By the way, guys, if you have any questions, you can just type it down in the question section and I'll take it up accordingly. Great. So now moving further on this, I'll want to introduce you to a new concept. This is actually something that we created some time back, and we are finding great value out of it. Some of you who are in the domain of digital marketing or marketing in general, you would have heard the term called lead magnet. That is like you generate a pull factor to pull people further in the customer journey, right? So for example, if you're doing a promotional campaign on some website and you're running a banner advertisement there, right? So what you do is that you try to create a communication in that ad such that those people actually are pulled to clicking that ad. So so that is what is called as a lead magnet, wherein you are moving people from a stage where they are not your lead to the stage when they become your lead. So I'm actually have generalized that whole concept, and I'm calling that as a engagement magnet. So what I'm saying is throughout the customer journey, at every stage, you need an engagement magnet to move people forward in that baby step that is needed at that particular stage, right? So customer magnet actually is needed to make a conversion happen. Okay, so let me actually clarify it further, because that's an important piece of concept, and that is something that would really make any piece of content to a marketing content or a great content from a sales point of view. So for example, you would use different kind of a content in your social media marketing practice. It could be that you're using ad, or it could be that you're doing some post on Facebook, or it could be that you're doing a tweet on Twitter, or it might be that you're sending out an email because of, or some email notification somewhere, right? In all piece of content, you would want users to take some step. Like in ad, you would want people to click. In case of Facebook post, you would want people to engage, and engage in a particular way. In some cases, you might want people to engage by liking the post. In some cases, you might want people engage by posting a comment on it. And in some cases, you might want people to engage or relevant people to engage by clicking on the URL that you've shifted. So engagement is different for different kind of a post, and it actually depends on the objective of posting it. Similarly, in case of tweet, like if you're looking to build a viral reach, you might want people to do a retweet or to mention you in a tweet to their friends, or you might want people to just click on the link that has been shared on the tweet. So that could also be an engagement. And in case of email, primarily it's about clicking on the link that is shared in the email, right? So the point is, how would you really make sure that people take the desired action or do the desired engagement that you want them to take? For that, the element that you need to build in all content element is called as engagement magnet. What is the engagement magnet that you're using by which is actually pulling people to take that action? If you do this job well, any piece of content that you use on social media will be great content. I mean, you would be surprised. I mean, for example, in case of the advertisements on social media, there is a term called CTR, which is the click-through rate. You know, I have seen the CTR as low as 0.05% to as high as 20%. Think about it. Think about the scope that is there from 0.5% to 20%. The difference is what is the engagement magnet that is used in that ad. And the same is true with the posts that are done, with the tweets, and for any other kind of a communication that you do on social media. And I'm sure a lot of you must have noticed in various kind of posting that you do on social media that some posts get completely out of the world kind of an engagement, while other posts are just not being able to get the desired engagement that you want. The difference there is that what is the engagement magnet that you have used, is that the effective engagement magnet or not. Now I'll share with you examples of some of the effective engagement magnets being used in the industry. So ultimately, engagement magnet is actually a reason for the user to engage. It should pull people together, and it should reduce the friction, right? So now let me share with you some examples. Okay, so for example, Dell was actually the first company, as per my information, they were probably the first company to make money out of Twitter. Twitter was started in July 2007, and they started this account sometime in 2008. The Twitter handle of Dell, and Dell has, by the way, number of accounts on Twitter, but this was among the first few Twitter accounts. This account is Dell Outlet. Okay, through this account, Dell posts exclusive deals for Twitter users, which is not available anywhere else. They positioned it only for exclusive deals, and look at the number of followers that they're able to build out of it. It's not that they have paid money for it, okay, and most of them are genuine followers. They're not the fake followers. So they've reached now 1.4 million followers. The reason why is it that because they could position this account only for exclusive deals on Twitter, which are for the Twitter users, which are not available anywhere else. So, so positioning it right, and if you look at the content, even if I look at some of the recent content, it's all about the discounts on the Dell product. And that's the reason people follow them, and that's the reason why they have got that much followers. And in terms of the amount of sales they were able to generate out of that, within months they clocked 1 million in terms of revenue, then 2 million, then 3 million. And in fact, a lot of businesses, after observing Dell achieving this kind of a success, started same model by offering Twitter exclusive deals for Twitter users. Okay, so in a way here, if you look at the engagement magnet, is the exclusive discount, not just discount but exclusive discount, and that became the reason for people not just to follow them but engage the way they want them to engage. This is also a very, very interesting example, and this I've taken from the Singapore market. So I'm not sure how many of you are aware of this product. I think it's available in India also now. I've seen it in number of shops, chemist shops in India also. There's a company called Vichy. They have a anti-blemish product called Normaderm. So when they launched this product, Normaderm, they wanted to demonstrate it publicly, the effectiveness of that product. First of all, the product quality was good, okay, and they wanted to do wanted to have it impact the sales that are happening in offline stores. So what they did something very clever. So here what they used is they use a contest, sort of a contest to engage everybody involved in the beauty industry in Singapore market. And so what they did was they launched a contest in which it's called a triple makeover 3 weeks contest, wherein they asked all the beauty bloggers of Singapore to nominate entries for it. Now, if you're asking beauty bloggers to nominate, right, so they would definitely get an ego boost. So a lot of them sort of recommended the entries from their side. Now, they are the beauty bloggers there. So if they are nominating entries for a contest, they would definitely blog about it. So they use that ego booster as an engagement magnet to attract beauty bloggers to give them the initial set of reach. Now, they did that campaign on Facebook as a platform. So on Facebook, what they did was all the entries they received from beauty bloggers, they asked community to vote for it. And what they said was the top 3 photos who would be voted up on top would participate in that contest. So in a way, they got the community involved in it. Okay, so keep it transparent and use an ego trip for the community also. So here, one thing that I want to clarify is that when we talk about content is not just the text that you post, and content is also not about the video that you post. Everything is a content, whether it is a contest, whether it is game, whether it is sweepstakes, discounts, anything that you can use to engage people and move them closer to sales is a content, right? And here, actually, if you look at, there are various pieces of content, but primarily it's grouped together in a contest. So what they did was, once they selected the top 3 entries, the beauty bloggers actually they get them participate in the 3 weeks makeover contest, and the beauty bloggers used to blog about the change in their skin every day. So that gave them the further reach. So at the end of this 1 month campaign, they got 20,000 people to vote. And think about it, Singapore is a very, very small market. So 20,000 vote in Singapore means a significant large reach. And what they could see 50% increase in Normadum sales in offline stores. So within a month, a contest on Facebook leading to 50% increase in the sales in an offline store. It's a very, very good accomplishment, right? So in a way, they could get people. So they use a sort of a content that get people engaged the way they want to. They could demonstrate the effectiveness of it by making it the whole thing completely transparent, and finally get their sales impacted, right? So a very, very interesting examples in case of in the domain of e-commerce, you would have used you would have seen all these kinds of ads from e-commerce player, including Jabong, Myntra, Snapdeal, and all. And especially when it's a discount time, they actually use it a lot. So most of their ads are actually anchored around the discount. This is a discount time that is going on, the end of the season sale. And if you go to Facebook, you would see that a lot of e-commerce players currently doing that. So that becomes like the discount as a content become like an anchor for people to move people from a Facebook viewer to a viewer on their platform. And some of them would actually eventually buy it and move closer to the sales side. So what you do here is that so I'm demonstrating various pieces of content used in different ways in social media, be it ads or be it a contest on social media or be it a content on some Facebook page, but it moves people in one baby step forward. You do not thinking of a content that will move people from a reach to final sales, but every piece of content should be used to move people one step closer to sales. And if you use a series of the right set of content, you would see that a good amount of people are actually converting to sales. Like Facebook also used, by the way, advertisement on Facebook to promote advertisements on Facebook. So this is an ad by Facebook to do advertisement on Facebook. If you look at the ad content, grow your agency on Facebook, click for free help from expert. So the anchor point here is free help is available from Facebook experts. And if you click here, what you see is that you get a 4 week of free telephone support, solution customized, and free $50 coupon as well at the end of it. So these are the anchor that they are using to move people from a Facebook viewer to a landing page visitor to a lead for the sales team, right? So it's an example of using two anchor in series. Guys, if you have any question, you can just type it down in the question section. Okay. Here is also another interesting example of Twitter. This is from a company, a startup company based in US. By the way, there are a lot of case studies of Facebook, Twitter in India also, but I find it much more relevant, which actually impacted sales directly, and that's the reason to demonstrate it further. I'm using this example right now. This girl actually started a business on foiled cupcakes, and when she was about to go live, she was planning to get her website designed in a particular way, but as happened with most of us who deal with the technical team, the website actually did not get complete on time as per her satisfaction, and she had made all other investment in terms of launch, and now she was in the mix of it on whether she should go ahead and launch the whole company or not. So what she decided was, rather than relying on the website, she actually jumped onto Twitter on her own, and there were 6 weeks before she could actually launch the company. So within 6 weeks, she had that domain knowledge of, and she was actually regarded as one of the experts in this domain. So when she started providing that exclusive content on Twitter, within 6 weeks she was able to build the followers of 2,200. These are genuine followers of 2,200, and the initial revenue, the first month revenue, which she was thinking, just because of the Twitter promotion, it actually surpassed by 600%. I've shared the link over here also, which talks about the complete case study in detail. But here, if you look at the content, was because it was actually coming from the horse's mouth. She was an expert in this domain, and she started tweeting on her own, and that becomes a reason for people to follow and take further action on that. Right. So another example that I want to share over here is of a company called Pick.it. It's a Lithuanian deal site, and just like Groupon or Times Deal, that's are now among the top deal sites here in India. By the way, deal sites actually use social media a lot, and even the e-commerce companies also load a lot, but deal site, because they want to send out frequent updates, social media channels makes a lot of sense to them, right? So in this particular case, they were generating 23% of their total sales purely from Facebook fans, not from the ads that they were doing on Facebook, not from Facebook application. They created a Facebook page, and it has about 70,000 odd likes, and they started posting frequent wall posts, timeline posts on the product, on the exclusive deals that they have about the product for their fans. And what they could see is that 23% of their overall sales are actually coming from the links that they're posting there, which is a significantly huge revenue for any company. Okay, so these are some of the examples that I have. So before we move forward, if you guys have any question or anything you want to ask, we have sufficient time now, so we can take up those questions now.
Sure, Kapil. We have a few questions here. The first question was from Lokesh. He says, what is search engine optimization?
Okay. Okay, Lokesh, you're aware of search engines, right? So you go to Google and you search. When you go to Google and search, you see two kind of results. One, there are paid sponsored results, which comes up on the top on the right hand side column, right? So there are about 7 or 8 of them. And other than that, the results are organic listings, right? So search engine optimization is about getting your site listed up on top in search results for the relevant searches for your domain. Like if I'm in the domain of digital marketing training, if someone searched for digital marketing training, I would want Digital Vidya site to come up on top. So that would happen if I have done good job as an SEO. So SEO is like a technique to get your site listed up on top on search engines, organic results.
Our
Does
next
that clarify it
yes.
for you, or you want further? Yeah.
Yes, he said, got it. Okay, so next question is from Ruchita. She says, what may be the different methods for audience aggregation? What are the
Right.
different?
So first of all, it's one thing that you really need to know is, first of all, audience aggregation is not a new concept. I'm not sure how many of you have read Autobiography of Gandhi. If you remember, when he was in South Africa, he started a newspaper by the name Indian Opinion, and he used to publish, and he actually maintained his discipline in making sure that he is publishing his article regularly in that newspaper. Okay, and when he launched Satyagrah, it was his statement, which is there in that autobiography also, that Satyagrah won't be possible without Indian Opinion, because in Indian Opinion he aggregated audience and he impacted their thinking to a stage that when he actually talks about Satyagrah, everybody was listening to him. So the concept of audience aggregation is very old. It's been used in pre-World War I times also. If you look at Lincoln, everyone has actually done it in some form or other. The point is that social media actually gives you new tools to do the same thing. You can do it over emails right now. You can do it on Facebook. You can do it on Twitter. You can do it on LinkedIn groups. You can also do it on Pinterest. You can also start your own community and do audience aggregation there, like what Starbucks has done, or what Dell has done by launching a community called IdeaStorm. So, but yeah, audience aggregation as such is a concept which is old and which is used to impact thinking in a long way.
Is from Ravi. He says, what are the threats of social media in business?
Okay, so so first of all, the one is that, and I'll try to answer it in two components. One is that even if a company is not there on social media, doesn't mean that there is no threat for a company. In fact, at this point of time, a lot of businesses jump on to social media when there is a threat of something negative getting spread against them, right? A lot of the CEOs or CXOs of public limited companies jumped on because to social media to give an official word out from someone of authority, because there's some negative conversation that started against them, and they need to do something about it because it straight away impacts the reputation in the industry. And to what extent it can do a damage, there are, I mean, every week I hear more than 10 cases of businesses getting impacted in a negative way. So there are a lot of them. The highest impact that I've seen is that, if you're aware of the case of what happened with United Airlines a few years back, when somebody actually wrote a song against them and launched a YouTube channel using that song, within a single day their stock price went down by $200 million, which I think it's unimaginable from that standpoint. In India, what happened against Koda, Mahindra Holidays, on Tata Docomo. So I think there are enough number of cases, the recent being of what happened with BMW as well. So the idea here is that social media is a public platform and no one can stop it. And the conversations that are happening over there are in any case going to impact businesses. The best that businesses can do about it is get aware of them as soon as possible by using various kind of listening tools, and try to deal with them appropriately so that it has a minimum negative impact against them.
This question is from Nikhil. He says that we are a B2B startup and our customers are employers and companies. So the decision making is in the companies are at multiple levels like the HR manager and the HR head. How can we use social media to solve this problem of multi-level decision making?
Right. So, Nikhil, what I would say is that ultimately, communication is the social media is a communication tool. Okay? And you need to see, as I mentioned earlier also in the sales cycle, you need to divide your customer journey to baby steps. And in some of the baby steps, you would see that social media will find a value in it. Okay. There are some channels that are purely dedicated for a particular industry. For example, if you go to Elon's, all the services companies are very active there. Or for the designers, there are a lot of communities including Design Outpost, communities like that, wherein you can actually participate on those specific communities as well. So one thing you need to see is that all the decision makers in your case, can you see them somewhere in any particular channel? Then that channel should be your first preference. It could be a particular group on LinkedIn also. You might want to create a new group on LinkedIn of those people as well. Secondly, once that is done, as you said, there are multiple people who are involved. For some of them, you might see that building a social touch with them is a good thing. And so you might want to use some social conversations which are in a way related to your product on Facebook and try to build a community over there as well. So that might also be good in some of the cases. And otherwise, we have to actually look in detail in case of your specific case on what strategy would really work for you.
All right. Our next question is from Jinal. Do you also have any example with service industry, like specialized service in logistics and supply chain management, who've taken up social media?
So you're saying logistic and supply chain management. I don't know whether we actually conducted a webinar last week with IBM, and IBM actually do a sort of a yearly webinar, not really a webinar but actually a conference of all the supply chain professionals, and they used social media effectively, first of all, to engage with them before the seminars, and also to build a sort of a reach and engagement during the seminar with the people who are not attending, and even post the webinars or post the seminar that was happening at that conference, they actually took some action on social media to build further reach. And to do that, they built some applications, they created some page on Facebook, and they built that engagement on that also. And according to them, it was a significant improvement compared to what happened last year when they did not use any social media, right? So, but here I'm talking about an example where IBM used it specifically for one event, annual event of supply chain professional, which ultimately helped them to generate good leads, right? And similar to that, you would have to identify some specific cases in your industry, which is wherein people on social media could be found and could be engaged with. Just to add to that, I mean, I think I would like to give you one more pointer to think about. Think about it. Where are the more influential people in supply chain domain active? If these bloggers are active on Twitter, and if somehow you get an attention of those bloggers on Twitter, can you somehow get your reach increased significantly because of that?
Our next question is from Nitesh. He says, how can we increase followers on Twitter as advertising through Twitter is very costly?
Yeah, so on Twitter, Twitter is actually a very, I mean, it's a different question altogether, but I'll try to answer it in a limited way. It's a very different kind of network. As per Twitter, there are more than 500 million people on Twitter, but out of them, more than 300 million are fake or are inactive. Okay, so the number of active accounts on Twitter are very less. Okay, so there are a lot of companies which can help you to get probably 100,000 followers within single day, and you only have to pay them 1,000 or 2,000 rupees. But they would be all fake followers or might be porn stars, which would not do any do for your business. So there are some ineffective way of increasing your followers. So my first suggestion is never ever fall in trap of that. It just does not do any good to you, other than possibly some ego boost for limited time. Um, uh, in terms of the number of followers that you get, and that's purely the number. In terms of the building the relevant followers, the easiest way, what I've observed, is the day you tweet you get followers, the day you don't tweet you do not get followers. Now what you tweet will define how much followers will you get. Okay, if you can tweet which engages the influential people in your domain and make them to reply to you or to make them to retweet your tweet further, you would see there would be a sudden addition in the number of followers that you have, and all of them would be very relevant, right? And if you follow, I mean, so there are other techniques also we teach during our courses, and what we suggest is if you actually follow those techniques well, you can get to about 400 to 500 followers at an individual level within 3 to 4 months easily, which is other relevant followers, right? But that's a complete detailed framework which I can share with you sometime later, but it would take a long time to share. But I mean, as of now, what I can answer is that to get relevant followers, what you need to do is you need to tweet. That's it.
Our next question is from Kapil Nakra. He says, how frequent should be the posts? Let's say Facebook page. So how many times a day should one post on Facebook?
Got it. So, Facebook actually recommends 1 to 2 posts a day. Okay. I have seen pages doing 50 posts a day also. I've seen pages doing 20 posts a day. Okay. The idea is on Facebook, if you do posting and if people are not engaging with you, your post will not go further, right? So you need to decide on the frequency based on how much your customers can consume. In most of the businesses, 1 to 2 posts is sufficient. So just ask this question from yourself: how frequent would people be okay to listening to you? Okay. If the answer is okay, twice a day is good enough, then just do twice a day post. Okay. In any case, in order to create a high quality, engaging post which makes business sense also, it takes a lot of time and effort. And doing more than 1 or 2 posts itself would be very difficult if you're spending the right amount of time in creating that content.
Our next question is from Gurmeet.
Yeah.
He says, can you speak about a few success stories for services-oriented B2B businesses?
Search-oriented? Did you say search-oriented?
No, B2B business-oriented.
Yeah.
Yeah.
B2B business oriented,
yeah.
Right? So, and I'm thinking that you purely want to talk about, since we are talking in space of social media, then we want success story of B2B companies who have done good job in social media, right?
Yes.
So, see, one of the case for sure is Digital Vidya. I mean, as Digital Vidya, we do public workshops as well as corporate workshops, and some of the largest clients that we have acquired so far are through LinkedIn as Facebook. Okay, we do our promotion on emailers and social media. We haven't done any offline promotion so far, and we are the largest in Asia. So from that point of view, we have, done a pretty good job on LinkedIn and Facebook to get the to get the leads for ourselves. If you go to elance.com, which is a B2B service community portal, it's also a social media, by the way. And if you look at the top companies listed for, say, for example, iPhone development, you would see that their annual revenue from Elance would be in an order of 4 to 5 million. So they are generating from one social media channel, they are generating $4 to $5 million, right? There are a lot of B2B companies. I'm aware of a company based out of Noida, IT services company, more than 70 employees, and they are doing lead generation through one discussion forum in their domain. So they are operating in a niche technology on Groovy on Rails, and they use a technology, they use actually a one discussion forum where people related to Groovy on Rails are active. They do their promotion only there, and using that channel they have generated most of their leads. Then there are companies which have set up more than 20 people on platforms like LinkedIn to build network and to do lead generation. And I'm talking about B2B companies here, right? So I can't name them, but as far as the B2B companies on social media is concerned, my first suggestion would be, first of all, think broadly. Social media is not just Facebook. Think about all the channels where your potential audience are active and see the kind of value you can generate out of it. But there are enough number of examples these days. If you want to read in detail about it, there is a site called socialmediab2b.com. It is among the top 100 blogs in the world also. It has all the case studies on how B2B companies worldwide are leveraging social media.
Our next question is from Tanmay. He says, is it advisable to go for all the possible media, or should we select only one most suitable social medium?
That's a very good question. So what I would advise is that it depends on the resources, and you should start small in restricted set of channel, and if it is not giving you value, then you should move out of it. Okay, so you have to use a measured growth approach here. What you think might work might not be the one that would really work, and you might see some surprises also. So you will always have some channels in the experimental state, so allocate some budget for that also. And in some of the channels where you see that you're finding a value, now you can scale it up, there you should do the major investment.
Our next
so by the way,
question.
Guys,
Yes, Kapil.
Yeah, please continue. Yeah. No, that's okay. You can continue with the next question.
All right. Our next question is from Rahul. He says that he has been using social media to reach out to the potential customers, but so far he's generated only 70 likes. So how shall he approach it?
70 likes on Facebook. That's what I'm assuming.
Yes.
Okay. So first and foremost, on Facebook, it is becoming increasingly difficult to increase the initial set of likes without ads, and it is becoming increasingly easy to increase your likes using ads. Okay. So what I would suggest is, first of all, on Facebook, do not really worry about fans. It's easier to grow that. It's very difficult to maintain and sustain engagement once you have that. So what you should be doing is, with the limited set of users that you have built, first of all, make sure that a good percentage of them are engaging. Okay. First, make it engaging, then you should think of the fan growth. Once you do that, your effectiveness of the fans would be very high. Then you can spend some reasonable amount on ads and grow your fans. You can also use some cross-promotional techniques by promoting your community on other platforms, not using the ad, but some other cross-promotional, like by promoting it on other communities wherein you can actually collaborate with the admin and do some cross-promotion there. And you can also promote it on other online properties, including your website, blog that you have, and that would help you to get some initial set of followers. But as of now, since you have started new, if I were you, my first tension would be out of those 70, how many of them are really engaging? And if they are not engaging, I would not really think about increasing the fan base right now. So guys, by the way, I'll take up other questions. This is an information for you. We have an upcoming instructor-led online course on social media, which is 4 sessions in the month of August. So if you want to join in along with NEN, we are giving a special discount which is 50% off in that course if you use the discount coupon NEN50. So if you're interested in that, you can just shoot a mail to me at kapil@digitalvidya.com or just mention me on Twitter at Kapil Nakra and I'll take it up. Okay. Yeah, Sneha, if you have any questions left.
Yeah, we have a next question from Jinan. He says, is there any tool available to keep a track of all the social media profiles under one roof or a free dashboard?
I mean, there are a lot of dashboard tools. TweetDeck, Hootsuite are some of them, wherein you can actually configure the whole dashboard such that you can observe the conversation or listen to the conversation of your interest, of your topic, of various accounts that you have on various social media channels. So by the way, listening and monitoring is the area wherein you would see maximum number of tools in the social media space at this point of time. So there are not just one. If you want to go with the paid versions, Radian6, Altarian are some of the one who are leading in this space. Then you can go to some, you want a lower, cheaper versions, go to TrackUR. That's also a good tool. Social Sprout is also good. And other free tools are socialmention.com is something that you can use. From the dashboard point of view, TweetDeck and Hootsuite, HOOTSUITE, are the 2 most commonly used tools.
Our next question is Gaurav. He says, is there any tool for social media analysis?
Yeah, so as I said, social media analysis and social media monitoring, the leading one is the Radian6. Okay, and if you want to use the free version, the free one, socialmention.com is the one that you can use, right, to analyze the conversations of a particular set of an audience. And otherwise, it depends on the kind of company that you have. And the volume of conversations that you want to deal with. There's a whole range of them. Just Google out and you would see the whole comparison analysis also. Okay.
From Tanmay, he says, what do you mean by attractive content? Should it be related to the product or services of the company? And we develop new materials. Which type of content should we use?
See, to me, attractive, it's not really a creative job. It's a marketing job. Ultimately, you need to be creative for sure. So, to me, the content is the one that is moving my potential customer closer to sales, right? So, it depends on which movement do I want a user to take. If I want somebody to click on ad and view something, I would use a different content. And if I want, but I need to do it in such a way that only relevant people click on it. And if I want people to move to a stage wherein they just give me their email ID so that later on I can send them a series of 10 emails and nurture them further, then I'll use a different content. If they are now ready to have a sales conversation, I'll probably have more product-oriented content going their way. So it really depends on which baby step that I want them to take. What is their profile, at what stage I'm catching them, and what step I want them to move further. So that's a great content. So great is not always a good quality content. Great is the one that take them closer to sales.
So our last 2 questions for the day. One is from Ranjot. He says that we are in travel segment with not too many followers in Facebook except our friends and relatives. So it does not make much sense to post some things on regular basis. So, so basically he wants to ask that should he be focusing on making relevant people like their page and put some engaging posts?
See, I think initially you would have to be a little patient and you'll have to do a lot of, you have to worry about engagement even though that is small. Okay. In travel domain, I think the content itself is very engaging. So Facebook is definitely the right community for you. Like some of the good work that is done in India is by a company called Exico. Exico community is one of the most engaging community on Facebook right now, and they are in travel space. So in terms of whether you, as in the travel space, is Facebook a right platform for you? For sure it is. Even if the number of people are less, what I would do is that I would still continue to invest in putting up engaging posts which are relevant in the travel space. And then what I would, and I'll slowly increase it, okay, but always keep a close watch and engagement. So if you're saying whether you should stop posting engaging content or do not spend too much time on it, I won't recommend it. I would say you should do that. While simultaneously you should gradually increase your community also using Facebook ads.
Our next question is from Lokesh. He says how to do audience aggregation for people in villages. Any idea?
Preferably do not use the online channel if they are not on social media, right? What you can do is, if they are on phone, then you can probably try out doing it on SMS if that's workable for you. Other than that, see if you can work out some deal with panchayats and try to hold a series of lectures there. But if people are not on any channel, you cannot use that channel. And in India, like on Facebook, there are 60 million people out of 1.2 billion, so that's like what 6% of the audience. So there would be 94% of the people who are not on Facebook, so you should not be using Facebook for them in any way. That's not your job. That's Facebook's job to bring them on, and once they are there, then you can use channels like these channels for your business purpose.
Question for the day is by Sandeep Singh. He says, where do we see the social media growing to? What is the growth of social media? Is it just the growth in business users?
I mean, overall, if you look at it, has already become the largest medium in India. I mean, as I said, on Facebook there are 60 million, and even if you compare it with the reach of possibly the Balika Vadhu or Radio City or even the Times of India group, they are far less than the reach of Facebook. So it's already a mass media, and every month another couple of million add on to Facebook in India. So where it is heading towards, God knows where it is heading towards, but for sure, as of now, it is there to stay. And as a business, we should worry about these channels till the time our users are there. Now, in India, people are usually fickle-minded. That's what happened with Orkut. They moved on to it, and they moved on. So if tomorrow that happens with Facebook, probably we would also move on as a businessman. But the idea is that as of now, since people are there, we need to worry about them, right? So future, I don't think my answer would make much sense, but I also keep anticipating, and then based on, as of now, I think it's worthwhile to keep investing in the social media channels that are existing today, but you need to be careful as well.
All right. Thank you, Kapil. That was the last question for the day. Thank you to all our attendees for participating in the webinar. Please do send in your feedback and suggestions to eclub@nenglobal.org. Also, if you found the session interesting, feel free to blog or post about it. The recorded version of the webinar will be available on our YouTube channel by the end of this week. Also join us for our next webinar on brand building using social media by Nikhil Verma. He's one of the trainers at Digital Vidya. It's on July 31st from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Thank you so much and have a good evening.
Thanks, Neha. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.